Paranormal Andy and Phantom Dark Dave. The Screaming Skull Podcast.
What's up, everybody? You're listening to a brand new episode of the Screaming Skull Podcast, and we are your hosts. I'm Phantom Dark Dave. And if you notice, there's no Abnormal Andy right there, and that's because this is a unique episode. You see, this is my birthday week, and we decided, let's just enjoy it, and let's not sit down and bust out a recording. Let's take some time and get caught up and, just proceed to the next episode. So what we did, we dug back to the archives, and we found an episode that has never been released on Screaming Skull Podcast, but it's something that he and I recorded about 3 years ago for a different podcast. So I just went through, did some minor editing, and we're going to use it to plug this gap so you guys aren't left without. So without further ado, kick back and relax and enjoy this really cool episode we did on 2009's House of the Devil.
I can tell you like it.
I love it. It's perfect. About the deposit?
I'll agree to waive all the deposit stuff. You just give me the first month's down, we'll call it a day, all right? It's hard coming up with all that money, isn't it?
It's gonna work out.
You're not the one with $84 in the bank account and a check to write on Monday.
You know what you should do?
Hi, I'm calling in regards to the babysitter flyer posted outside my dorm.
Tonight's big eclipse is now well underway.
I feel a little weird just dropping you out here in the middle of wherever we are.
You have to forgive me, Samantha, because I've not been completely honest.
We're from the desert, you know.
You see, we actually don't have a child.
They lied to you.
I know, okay, I know you're right. But it's $400. This equals first month's rent and then some, and all I have to do is sit inside and watch TV. This is huge. This one night changes everything for me.
Here we go.
Are you not the babysitter?
Talk to me, Lord. Talk to me.
We open up with a message on the screen that says, during the 1980s, over 70% of American adults believed in the existence of abusive satanic cults. Another 30% rationalized the lack of evidence due to government cover-ups. The following is based on true, unexplained events. We meet Samantha Hughes as she's looking at renting a one-bedroom apartment from a landlady none other than the horror icon Dee Wallace. Dee Wallace tells her that she's not the first person she's shown the apartment to, but the other girl seems like trouble, and Samantha reminds her of her daughter. Dee Wallace drives away as Samantha begins to walk away, and we get a really cool freeze frame, and the title, House of the Devil, appears on the screen in beautiful yellow font. Andy, what did you think of the opening of this movie?
Oh, yeah, man. I love that title card or whatever you want to call it. It's like, it's just got that retro feel. And I thought it was interesting that it came up over her new apartment. Like, her new apartment was actually in the background with the House of the Devil. It's like, it almost like puts like some kind of sinister spin on the beginning. I don't know if there actually was supposed to be or not, but yeah, no, the beginning was fine. I mean, I love the whole like based on true events thing. Yeah, that's always cool. I don't know what, I mean, besides just the general satanic panic of the 80s, I don't know what other true events this might be based on, but I'm assuming, you know, it's that whole thing where a lot of Christians were like scared that there was like these like Satanists running around, like especially on like Halloween and sacrificing kids or, you know, doing all this crazy stuff. And it's just one of those things where I feel like it was, I don't really think that a lot of it actually happened. I think a lot of it was, I guess there was like some psychiatrist that came forward and was like doing this like hypnotic regression on a bunch of kids, and they were coming out saying that they were abused in this satanic ritual abuse and stuff like that, but it was like almost like planted memories, or it was like they were kind of led to say these things, but it didn't actually happen. But it ruined a lot of people's lives, and just really crazy. It's just everything that happened back then.
Yeah, I'll tell you, man, one thing we can agree on, it made for some pretty cool films. We got a lot of really cool Satanist type cult movies throughout the 60s, 70s, and 80s here. And one thing that's really cool about this movie that Ty West did is he used, I don't want to say a filter, but he filmed it kind of like a downgrade where it's still crystal clear HD, but it looks like old 35 or 16 millimeter. It looks really cool.
Yeah, it definitely looks like you're watching a movie from like the 80s or like early 80s. I love that.
Samantha walks back to her dorm only to find her roommate Heather is preoccupied in the room. Samantha then walks away, but as she passes a bulletin board, she sees a flyer that says babysitter needed. She then goes to the campus payphone and calls the number, but is forced to leave a message. She gets about 5 seconds away from the phone, and then it rings, and it's Mr. Ullman, the guy who posted the flyer, and he sets an appointment to meet her right away on campus. Andy, I gotta know, when's the last time you used a payphone?
It's been a minute. I think probably, if I had really had to think about it, the last time I used a payphone was probably the 90s. I don't know.
Yeah, when's the last time you saw a payphone?
Actually, there's one in my building at work still.
Okay.
I don't know if it works or not. I was always tempted to pick up the receiver and see it. Well, I guess you wouldn't really get a dial tone until you put money into it, but
I don't know, man.
Anyway.
Pick it up. It may be Mr. Ullman calling.
Oh man, yeah. So how the hell did he know the number for the payphone that she called him on? I thought that was weird.
It is weird because I looked it up and the whole like last call return didn't come out until the early 90s. So I think that's a red flag right away that something's not right with Mr. Ullman.
And I love that the bulletin board. Like if you just like pause on the bulletin board that she takes where she sees the ad for the babysitter, and you just pause on that bulletin board. It's interesting all the different ads that are on that board and the notices. Like you have a lot of stuff about the eclipse coming up, and you hear everybody's talking about the eclipse. And then also there's a ad for Nick's Pizza for I think it's like a driver wanted, and so that'll come up later. I think it's interesting.
Awesome. Yeah, I should have done that. I didn't do it. I wonder if her roommate would have been on there. Like, oh, hey yo. We'll get to that. But
oh man.
She goes back to her dorm room, and her roommate and her roommate's companion are passed out in the bed. And Andy, I like how when she walks in, we see how her roommate is extremely messy. Like her side of the room is just covered in clothes and leftover food. And then we get to Samantha's side, and it's completely spotless. And Samantha grabs her stuff, and then she heads to the place where she's supposed to meet Mr. Ullman, but he never shows up. And instead, Samantha spends her time jamming her portable cassette player. So, Andy, when's the last time you played a cassette tape?
Probably. Actually, I think it was like in the early 2000s. That was the last time I had a car with a tape player in it.
Okay, good call. So I don't know if it shows that she has like a Sony Walkman. I think that's what I read, but man, that was like the cream of the crop back then. I don't know if I could ever afford something like that.
Yeah, no, I actually found one at a garage sale and I bought it, but then whenever I tried to play a tape, it had this weird sound like in it. It was something was messed up with it. So I'm like, dang.
Oh. I literally thought you were gonna be like, yeah, I bought the cassette tape, and then I got home and forgot I didn't have any tapes. Strangely enough, we actually play tapes almost every day here. So I use that as a segue to admit that Julie and I sometimes like to turn the volume down on the receiver because we have flat screen TV, we have stereo, we got speakers, we got everything going, but sometimes we still like to turn on like the Nintendo Wii U, put on some vintage Dr. Mario, but crank the volume down and then play a cassette tape. And I got some Hero on Mars on cassette back there and some other good things, and so it's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Yeah, you're mentioning the whole dorm living thing. That's something I kind of missed out on. When I went to college, I just lived at home and I didn't live at the dorm. But man, it's just like this is kind of crazy. And the whole, what is it, like sock or the something on the doorknob to signal that don't come in and all that stuff. It's just crazy. I guess I missed out. I don't know.
Yeah, I did as well, man. Could you imagine if we had been roomies? We'd be watching horror movies and eating pizza all the time.
Man, we would flunk out of school so fast.
No, man. Well, I don't know. Back then, there wasn't the internet, and you'd had to crack open some books and study really hard. So maybe film school. We could have went to film school.
There you go. Yeah.
All right, podcast school. Samantha meets her friend Megan at a pizza parlor where they talk about the place that Samantha's getting, and they talk about the babysitting job incident where she got ghosted. Megan says the pizza is nasty. I had to write that down. And Megan kind of talks like she comes from money. I'm not really sure, but Megan does get the idea of like a revenge plot where she's going to run through campus and rip down all the flyers that Mr. Ullman posted as revenge for ghosting. Andy, I gotta ask, have you ever ordered pizza like that you chose, but then refused to eat it?
No, I don't know. Like, I don't think I've ever eaten a pizza I didn't like, though. That's the first thing. But yeah, I don't know. I would have a hard time just not eating it, even if, I guess if it tasted weird enough, I would think there's something wrong with it, but I don't know.
Well, and the reason I word it that way, too, is because I was going to be like, have you ever had pizza that you didn't want to eat? And it's like, okay, maybe if you didn't order the pizza, right? If you're like, I don't like mushrooms or something, and say you get like a pepperoni and mushroom pizza, you're like, I'm not eating it because I don't eat mushrooms. But this was just a pepperoni and cheese pizza from what I could tell. I don't care if it's Chuck E. Cheese, I don't care if it's Walmart, I don't care if it's any of the 10 places everybody knows. I've never had a pepperoni pizza that I didn't like.
Exactly, yeah.
And
it's... Yeah.
I was going to say, there's more than one time where we see this pizza get thrown away, and I think Julie and I both got really upset.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, yeah, there's been a couple of scenes where they're eating food, and it's always pepperoni pizza. I thought it was funny.
Well, since you brought it up, what's your go-to topping?
Oh, pepperoni.
Okay, well, small world.
But yeah, I mean, I've expanded my palate. You know, I'll eat Supreme. Let's see. I'll do like taco pizza like that. I'm not a big fan of pineapple on pizza. I know that's a big topic of controversy, but that's just where I stand. Not a fan.
I've never had it. I've always wondered, but I've never been venturous enough to try.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty simple. I don't do Supreme because I don't like all the vegetables very much. You know, peppers and onions just really don't do it for me. But man, if you get like a Meat Lovers or even just basic, like I like just pepperoni, give me some cheese stuffed crust, I'm on board. But Meat Lovers, dude, it can have any kind of meat on there. I'll eat it. And I will say, even like the barbecue chicken stuff that Julie really likes is really good. But I'll tell you, I'm very much of a deep dish and traditional. I don't really care for the thin crust.
Yeah, I like the barbecue chicken too. I actually do like the thin crust and like the cheesy crust. I'm not as big a fan of like the thick crust with like just where it's just like bread.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah.
So what is your... So usually we get Domino's. Where do you order from?
We haven't ordered since we moved, but like we order from this local place called Sarpino's. They're really good. Domino's. Domino's is another place that we have ordered a lot from too.
Okay, so it's literally what I said.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm glad we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Man, I was like, maybe you live in the house of the devil. Are you telling me you don't order pizza? I'm not coming over, Andy.
Yeah.
All right. Samantha heads back to her dorm room, still half messy, half spotless, and her roommate is snoring away. Andy, be honest with me, man. Do you snore?
I've been told that I snore. Yeah, I never hear it, but...
Well, if you've never seen footage, it's never happened.
Yeah.
Samantha leaves the room, frustrated, and she goes to the dorm bathroom where she turns on all the sinks, and then she sits there on the toilet and starts to cry. Andy, I feel like I can relate. Are you like me where every time you invest 2 hours into a horror movie that's really good and then has a really crappy ending, do you also sit on the toilet and cry?
Well, maybe, but the one thing I want to do is I want to make sure that toilet seat is clean. I don't know. She just like sat down on it. I don't know. Did she like wipe it off or anything? That was like really bugging me.
I know that's one thing I wouldn't like. Like I said, I didn't do the college dorm scene either, but man, I would have liked to think that every dorm apartment or whatever would have had its own bathroom, but it looks like it's like a floor thing. Like each floor has like a, I don't want to say air quote public, but you know what I mean, where it's like multi stalls and everything. Like, where's the privacy, y'all?
Yeah, I think that's how it is. I think it was just like a floor bathroom that everybody shares. It's like, ugh.
Yeah. No thanks. Although, you know, you gotta go. So I'll be quick to go to a QT if I have to. Samantha leaves the bathroom, goes back to her dorm room, and Andy, I gotta be honest, I feel like the first act of this movie could just be called Samantha Walks to Her Dorm Room.
Yeah, a lot of her walking and waiting and just kind of doing random things, it seems like.
Did we mention it's a slow burn?
But I wasn't bored. I'll have to say that. I wasn't bored. I don't know what it was. I think you're kind of invested in Samantha's character, and you're kind of rooting for her to, like, because she's having some financial struggles, and she's really trying to make some extra money before she has to pay her deposit or whatever for her new apartment. So she's got some things going on, so you're kind of rooting for her. You want to see her succeed.
Right. And I know, so in the newspaper that she was looking at before, she had it circled where it was like 1-bedroom apartment or whatever. But that place that Dee Wallace was showing her, was that not a house? That thing was huge.
Yeah, I think it was one of those old big houses where they kind of split everything up into like separate apartments or something. Okay. They have it to where they can have multiple apartments in like one place. Got it.
So would you have multiple managers, or would it be just one landlady? Does Dee Wallace just own it all?
Yeah, I think she would just own it all, and everybody would just, she would have multiple tenants in one house, but it would be like, there would be like walls, or I don't know if it'd be like shared bathrooms, or if she has like multiple bathrooms, or what's going on in there.
Sounds like a halfway house, man.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, Samantha walks back to her dorm room, and her roommate tells her that a guy called for her and that she wrote his number down on the desk. She calls the number, and look, it's Mr. Ullman. He apologizes for ghosting her, and he says that, the first girl was unreliable and that it's really urgent that she babysits tonight, and he's willing to pay her double. He says it will only take a couple hours, and he will make it as painless as possible. Andy, what the hell does that mean?
Yeah, he sounds desperate. That's just what it sounds like, and she was desperate too, I guess. So it's 2 + 2 = 4, and there you go. I don't know.
All right.
I don't know what that means, but I just said it. So
that's some good math. I like it. Later that evening, Megan picks her up at the dorm, gives her a ride to the Ullman residence in her Volvo. They're jamming to the tunes on the radio, and then, Andy, this is when we hear the local broadcasters talk about the eclipse that's happening tonight, and Megan does not seem to give a shit about the eclipse, unless, of course, the moon explodes. What do you think about the eclipse?
It's interesting, and it's funny. This is like pretty true to life. I think in the 80s, people were like super obsessed with like eclipses. I don't know. I even wrote a short story in like the 4th grade about an eclipse, and it was like the teacher liked it so much she put it in this like collection of short stories that they made that for the class. It was kind of cool. Of course, mine was like kind of like the scary story of the collection. It was like, it wasn't just an eclipse. There was like a UFO and a big monster that ate somebody. So yeah,
that sounds amazing. Man, we had so much in common. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Now, when I was talking about the eclipse, I was talking about the car.
Oh, shoot.
No, I'm kidding. It's a joke.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to pull one over for you. No, I was just talking about the eclipse. And I just find it fascinating. I didn't know that a lot of people in the 80s were kind of obsessed with it, because unless it's a werewolf movie, I really don't care about the moon.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what it was about it, but I think it was just like, of course they've had eclipses since the beginning of time, and so I don't know why all of a sudden people are like, "Oh, the eclipse."
Yeah, maybe it was tied into that satanic panic you talked about. But just a side note, when I was in like 10th grade in high school, I really wanted a Mitsubishi Eclipse car, so that's why I plugged that little in there, is because that was like my dream car at the time. But yeah, I was never going to get something like that. That's why they call it a dream car.
Yeah, dream cars. I'm trying to think about what my dream car was back in high school.
Was it a Volvo?
No. I think I kind of like, when I was a kid, I kind of like Volkswagen Bugs.
Oh, yeah.
And like Trans Ams, like Thunderbirds, those kind of cars.
Yeah, you fit in the 80s, all right. You got a denim jacket with you?
Oh, yeah.
Well, shit, man. I know nowadays my dream car is a hearse. I know that sounds either weird for somebody who doesn't know me or a cliche for those who do, but man, give me an all-black, decked-out hearse, keep this casket in the back, fill it with ice, and put Monster Energy drinks in it. I'm ready to roll. That's my dream.
Hell yeah. Yeah, and you'll have Rob Zombie blast down the stereo.
Damn right, I'll come pick you up.
All right. Just be like the Dragula video.
That's exactly right. Megan, being the good friend that she is, offers to stay with Samantha on the babysitting job. And she just wants to be a supportive friend, you know? But this is also when she's like, all right, I gotta tell you something. You know, I did something naughty, but you can't be mad. And then she reaches in the back seat, and Andy, Lord behold, she actually went and took down all those flyers on campus. So I guess she got her revenge.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was like, oh, she actually did it. And then, yeah, it's one of those things where, like, yeah, you have the friend that like wants you to do that, and you're not going to do it, but your friend is actually going to do that for you because they know you're not going to do it.
Right? Yeah. Keeps a 2 + 2 = 4, Andy. But you know, Megan says that she thinks the Ullmans are weird, and Samantha responds because she's like, they're probably not weird. I mean, they live in the country and they have lots of money. And then Megan is real quick to be like, yeah, look at my family. And then I'm like, there it is, Andy. There again, you know, lots of money. And they drive past a cemetery, which is always a good sign. And they pull up to this old Victorian-looking mansion-style home. And Megan gets really excited because there's a red Volvo in the driveway. And Andy, I begin to ask myself, okay, if we've assumed she comes from money, then it's one of two things, right? Either Megan's parents are salesmen, like car salesmen, or maybe she comes from the Volvo family. What do you think?
I never thought about that. Yeah, quite possibly, maybe it's something like that.
Her name could be Megan Volvo.
Yeah, that's a cool name.
They knock on the door, and it's Mr. Ullman who opens up. And even though we don't see him at first, it's obvious to us that he's very, very tall. She introduces herself and Megan, and she walks inside, and then we get a glimpse of Tom Noonan. Andy, first thing I saw, and the first thing I thought was, like, Tom Noonan could be the tall man in a Phantasm remake. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. That would be awesome. I would totally watch the shit out of that.
Yeah, I love Phantasm. Another movie we'll have to do on this podcast at some point. A great series all around. And then, of course, we had Angus Scrimm, who played the tall man, and we lost him a few years ago, R.I.P. But, you know, let's go ahead and make another movie. Let's get Tom Noonan in there. He's tall as shit.
Yeah. Yep.
They sit down on the couch in the living room. Mr. Ullman sits across them on the chair, and he thanks them for taking the job on such short notice. He says that they've been running out of time lately, especially with the eclipse about to happen. And Megan, you can tell she's kind of fine-tuning this conversation. She puts a quick ear and she's listening, and she's trying to figure out the motives of Mr. Ullman because she thinks he's weird. She doesn't trust him. And so she's like, okay, are you a teacher? And he says no, and then he mentions that, they live in the most perfect place in the world to see the eclipse tonight, especially if you're an astronomer. It's like an astronomer's dream. And she's like, okay, are you an astronomer? And he just kind of smiles at her. He says no, and then he tells Samantha, hey, can I see you in the other room? We need to speak privately. So Samantha agrees, clearly against Megan's wishes. And this is what Mr. Ullman tells her that, he can only afford to pay one of them. And then she's like, oh, don't worry, Megan's not staying. She's just my ride. And then Mr. Ullman, that's whenever he smiles and he's like, well, you must forgive me because of the uniqueness of the situation. And then he spills the beans, Andy, and he says it's not necessarily a job to babysit a child, but to babysit his mother-in-law. And so she respectively rejects the job, right? She gets up, she starts to walk away, and that's, Andy, when money talks and bullshit walks, because he pulls out $300 and she requests $400 for one night. Andy, I'm going to assume that it's the year 1979. Now, I know earlier we said 83, but let's look at this. It looks like the Amityville house, okay? The dude pulls out $400. $400 in 1979 would equal $1,641, and I just want to say I would babysit Damien for that kind of cash.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't realize how much, with today, the inflation, so how much money that actually was. But yeah, that was crazy.
It's like, hey, here's a non-pornographic job for 4 hours and you'll get $1,600. I'm like, sign me up. Let's go. Even if it's pornographic, I don't care. Julie might get mad. We'll work it out.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can just tell that he's super desperate. Like he just needs, but it also, makes him more sketchy. It's like, what's going on with this guy? Why is he so desperate to have her there that night? It's just like, what? And, it's funny, Megan totally is catching on, totally senses something's weird, something's wrong. But Samantha, she's just she doesn't care. She's like, I need
she's
the
totally
money.
naive.
Yeah, you kind of get that feeling that she's a little bit naive, but also she's just like super desperate. She just needs the money.
Yeah. Well, like you said, Megan gets it. She's pissed, though. She tries to talk Samantha out of it, but Samantha says, it's too good to be true, and it's an offer she can't refuse. Megan says it's stupid, but obeys her wishes and decides to leave, but she agrees to come back and pick her up at 12:30. She drives away, and then she pulls over into that cemetery I talked about that they passed by, and she's going to enjoy a cigarette. She tries to light it. Her lighter isn't working, so she pushes in that car lighter. Andy, do you remember those car lighters?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, fun fact, 2017 marked the last year that the car lighter was manufactured, and it was in a Toyota.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I remember I did used to smoke back in the day, and I think I used to use a car lighter, so nostalgia.
Oh, yeah, me too.
What kind of cigarette did you smoke, Andy?
Back then, I think I smoked like Marlboros, just whatever I can.
Oh, well, that
yeah.
goes with your Trans Ams. That makes sense.
And then, like, once I was like out of high school, well, I mean, I guess I kind of was a little too young to really smoke in high school, but after high school, kind of more in like adult phase, I switched over to Camels. I went through a Camel phase there for a little while.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah. I used to smoke the Marlboro, the Camel, but my go-to was the Newport Menthol. And so whenever, menthol everything, man. I'm obsessed. But don't smoke no more because cigarettes are bad for you and really bad for your wallet.
Oh yeah, I don't even
nowadays.
know. Yeah, how much are they a pack now? I wonder.
Oh, don't even get me to lying, man. I remember growing up, my parents used to buy cartons all the time, and they'd be outside, like, slamming them on the ground trying to pack their cigarettes, and it used to blow me away because they'd spend, like, over $20-something for a carton, and I'm like, that's movie money. Like, that's a waste.
Yeah, no, I remember, back when I smoked, like, a carton was, like, $27, and I just can't imagine what it would be now.
I don't even want to think about it, but Andy, we get our first jump scare of the movie because from out of nowhere, she's trying to light that cigarette, but then a hand reaches in the window and offers a light, and this scares the crap out of Megan, rightfully so, and she calls out to him for being some kind of stalker, but then she wants her cigarette lit, so she takes the lighter. She hands the lighter back, and that's when he's like, "You the babysitter?" And she says no, and she begins to explain, and Andy, what happens?
Man, he just straight out caps her ass, pulls out a gun, and blows her head clean off.
He does. It's awesome looking.
And it was like, that was like truly a holy shit moment. You're like, it just comes out of nowhere. You're not even expecting it.
Yeah, this whole time, this has been such a slow burn movie. It goes, at this really steady, ongoing pace, and then it goes from like 0 to 100 at the drop of a dime. It's pretty amazing, and the great practical effects.
Oh yeah, for sure. It kind of looks like something that you would see like in the 70s or 80s, I feel like, as far as the effects go.
Oh yeah, like a Giallo movie or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's good shit. Well, this guy, we don't know who he is, but he gets in the car, and he steals the car, and he steals her cigarette. So he's like a double thief. But we switch back to the Ullman house, where Mr. Ullman is giving Samantha half of her payment up front, as well as some money for pizza. He tells her the number for the pizza place is on the fridge, and then he gives her a phone number to the place that they're going to go to for the evening. Well, we don't know where they're going, but here's a number where they can be reached. He says he's going to go upstairs and get the missus, but then we overhear him talking, and I don't know how this is possible, if it's just like through the vents or through the house, but we hear his voice is echoing, and we can kind of hear some strange conversations. We don't know who he's talking to, but as she's listening, a woman enters from out of her room, and we assume this is Miss Ullman, and it is, because she comes and she introduces herself, and she seems very fond of Samantha's youth. And Samantha says, "Oh, your husband went upstairs to get you, but it's weird because, you came from over there." And Miss Ullman's like, "Oh, yeah, I was going downstairs to get a fur coat." She says that she loves the heat, and I don't know, are they from the desert? I mean, Andy, I was thinking, is this like a red flag? Are they from hell? Is she the devil? What's going on?
Yeah, they said that they weren't used to the cold and because they came from the desert, yeah. Yeah, it's just interesting, like... Yeah, and I think that both her and Tom Noonan, Mary Warrenoff and Tom Noonan played their part so well. Just the acting is really great in this movie, I feel like.
I agree. And I feel like movies that have a small, tight cast, like you really pay attention to the acting in it, and your movie is going to either be extraordinarily good or flop. And in most cases, when a movie is super good like this, you have a great story to drive it, the characters usually shine through, and I'm right there with you. I love a movie that's got like a small cast, but then everybody in that cast just excels. It's awesome. And it's really cool that you mentioned she was in the Silent Night, Bloody Night, because I still haven't watched that movie, but I remember I listened to your podcast episode on it, and it got me excited. And then when I saw who she was, I was like, man, now I really got to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, she's kind of one of the main characters in that movie. So, and it's interesting to see her like younger, when back when she was younger and stuff.
Oh, I was like, she is not young in this, but
yeah.
But man, she's really all about Samantha, right? Like, she's very creepy, and usually you'll get an elderly person who's pretty sweet. You can just tell they're reliving the glory days. But man, I don't know. With Mrs. Ullman, it was kind of like, you're so lucky. I wish I was you, but then like, I also want to kiss you. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, there was a kind of a weird, like, she was like, I don't know, like,
it's like a strange attraction, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Well, Mr. Ullman walks downstairs, and Mrs. Ullman tells him that she approves of Samantha, and he tells her that, everything is going according to plan, and then they go to leave, and then Andy, he reminds her for the number for the pizza place, I think for like the third time.
Yeah, he started to say, he's like, oh, I've already said that, haven't I?
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is just like, because earlier maybe she didn't eat the pizza, and he's like, this pizza place is really good, but it seems like he really, really wants her to have pizza tonight.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, he's like, the number for pizza places on the fridge. I know how you college kids like pizza, and of course, so we see them eating pizza earlier in an earlier scene. I thought that was funny.
Yeah. Samantha looks out the window. She watches them drive away in their red Volvo, and she tries to call Megan, but it goes straight to the answer machine. And man, I don't know. When I heard Megan's, like, I'm going to call it voicemail, but her answer machine, the way she does it is, like, she sets it up like it's a prank. And I was like, this is totally some shit Andy would have had.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, when I was a kid, I actually recorded a message on our answer machine. I was the butler. And I was kind of rude, kind of like one of those rude butler things. So it's kind of funny, I guess. Or I thought it was funny, but yeah.
I wish I could hear it.
Oh, yeah. It's something like, this is Jeeves the butler, and we're not home, or we just don't want to talk to you, or something stupid like that,
Really? You went with Jeeves? Like Ash Jeeves the butler?
Well, this was like before all that. I was like 11 or something.
Damn, I think somebody called you and got the idea.
Yeah.
Too bad that Jeeves thing didn't work out. Should have went with Google, the butler.
Really, yeah.
Well, Andy, I know whenever she makes this phone call, there's a really interesting scene where we kind of focus on the sink for a few minutes as it's dripping. And one thing I got to say is, up until this point, and throughout the whole movie, but the cinematography is amazing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this movie looks good. I mean, there's all the camera angles, and you have some of the zoom-ins and stuff that are interesting. I think it's just, it kind of takes you back to those older movies, I think, just...
It does, man, because the dolly shot wasn't fully established back then, and so you always have the zoom effect, which, like you say, remembers like Jaws and everything. It looks really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Well, Samantha's got her book bag on the counter, and she pulls out her cup, and she fills it up with tap water. And Andy, when's the last time you drank from the sink?
Every day.
Do you have like a purify system, or do you just drink the tap water?
My wife, we have one of those Brita pitchers, and she fills it up. She drinks out of that, but I just drink out of the tap.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm just, I don't know, like, I think it's like, I don't want to, like...
Andy's like, the fluoride tastes good.
Yeah. Well, it's like, yeah, because when you empty out the pitcher, you got to refill it. So I'm just like...
Lazy bastard. It's okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, we do that every day. I got Julie bought the same thing. I don't think it's the Brietta one or whatever it's called, but it's huge. And yeah, we do the filters and fill it up with water, and it's delicious. But I don't want to sound like some bitch over here. But yeah, I just would not drink from the sink. But it reminds me of like back in the day, being kids, we used to drink out of the water hose and didn't faze me. But nowadays, I'm like, no, I'm good, man. Well, Andy, she orders a medium pepperoni pizza. There we go again with pizza, and it says it'll be there in 30 minutes. And now I don't have to ask you about your favorite topping because you agreed that pepperoni is a good idea. So we'll move on. Samantha starts turning on some lights in the house, and she does a little sightseeing around the house. she sees the billiard room and she sees a piano where she demonstrates that she can't play worth shit, which is kind of funny because I thought everybody could play chopsticks. She goes into the office where she sits at this desk and there's a globe on the desk. And I got to be honest, man, every time I see a globe, it reminds me of this comedian who's like, I hate to travel, probably because my dad used to beat me with a globe. I don't know why, but that joke always used to... Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it used to always get me. But Andy, did you find it strange that when she sits down at the desk, she like finds a pair of glasses and then she puts them on, and those were some like seriously thick goggles, weren't they?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So if you found a pair of glasses, would you just put them on? Is that something people do? I know kids would do that, but I mean,
yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know if I would put somebody else's glasses on my face. I don't know.
Right.
But
well, I'm not a germaphobe or anything like that, but I'm just like, you just testing your vision. You just want to see what it looks like. But Andy, when she does, you see how thick these glasses are. I remember my first thought was like, dude, those glasses, like somebody needs those. Like, who is not wearing their glasses? And
yeah,
then I was like, is that a clue?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she was pretty what's the word? She just like went through their drawers and looked through all their stuff, you know. She was just like
do you think that was like a niche of like that's just something babysitters do?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, if you have somebody in your house, that I'm sure that, you know, somebody will look through your stuff. I mean, I think people are just curious by nature, and
everybody knows, Andy, the first thing you're supposed to do is go through the underwear drawer. She was in the wrong room.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Well, she does go in another room that's got a goldfish, and she taps on the bowl. And, you know, not to sit there and talk about every little thing, but I feel like that's something everyone does. Like, you go to PetSmart or wherever, like, you see fishes swimming around, you instantly just tap it on there. And I remember when I saw Deuce Bigalow, Male Gigolo, and the dude's like, fishy, 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 and she's tapping on, and he's like, they don't like that. I was like, oh, shit, no? So, do you tap on the bowl? Do you talk to fish?
No, I don't think I really tap on that. I might, like, put my finger up to the glass or something.
Andy's like, I drink the water out of it. I don't know. Yeah. But also in this room, did you notice the weird wallpaper where it has like cowboys on it?
Yeah, it was almost like a kid's room.
It was, and yeah, and when I say cowboys, I don't mean like Dallas Cowboys football team. I mean this looked like some straight up old school 40s and 50s Western stuff, and it did have that vibe, like a nickel and dime store kind of deal.
Yeah, it was like a room for a kid, like a young boy, and it was just kind of weird. It was just very off-putting, I would say.
It was, because earlier, you know, when we were talking to Mr. Ullman, he talked about, you know, the babysitting job's not for a kid. I mean, we have a kid, but he's fully grown. And so I'm like, did you never change his room? Like, has he just kept that forever?
Yeah, it was weird.
Well, she continues to look in other rooms. She finds a bathroom. She just turns on the light, but she doesn't go inside. And then we get a really cool shot where the camera pulls out and it shows us that she enters another room where, again, she's turned on the light. And we see, like, several lights on in the house. We see, like, all the rooms that she's been to. And, Andy, I remember thinking, like, she's going to need to give some of that $400 back to help with this electric bill she's causing.
Turn off the lights.
When you leave the room, turn off the light. Were you born in a barn?
Yeah.
Well, she sits on the couch in the living room. She attempts to study, but Andy, we know that she's not going to study because she turns on the TV, and we hear more about the eclipse. We hear that it's supposed to last for like 2 hours, and that the moon will be completely hidden into the Earth's shadow at midnight. And then I had to write down this note because the segment's ending, and it's like, up next, Frightmare Theater, and I got a question for you, man. How can she study when all she really wants to do is dance?
Yeah.
Next scene, man, she puts on that Walkman and she gets down, doesn't she?
Oh, yeah. And it's what's the song? If it's not one thing, it's another.
Oh, don't get me to lying. I did not write down the song, but I was too busy dancing myself.
Yeah, I think it's called like One Thing or Another by The Fix, I think is the band's name.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a cool song, and yeah, this is one of the scenes that I remembered back when I first saw it. So it was a cool scene where she's just like, she has her headphones on, and because it's really interesting where it's in the movie, because you kind of have this suspense building a little bit, and then she starts doing this thing where she's listening to music and she's dancing around. It almost like cuts the suspense a little bit. It gives the audience a little bit of a break, I think, from the suspense.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. And it kind of has like a 80s like Breakfast Club flash dance. Like it's a montage, but it's really cool because, you know, she puts the music on, we hear the music, she's dancing around the house, she plays a game of pool, but she's still exploring, which is kind of nice. And I know she opens a door to a basement, but this isn't Barbarian, so she doesn't go down there. She dances on the couch with her fucking shoes on, which I can't stand. She dances upstairs, and then she dances right into a table where she causes a vase to fall down and break. And this vase, or vase, however you want to pronounce it, it falls right in front of a door that she hasn't opened yet. Okay? And, well, she opens it, and we see fur coats hanging up, man. And so it's kind of weird because I thought the fur coats were downstairs.
Yeah, just another thing to kind of show you that something's not quite adding up here.
Yeah, but it's still, like, even though it's wrong, it seems harmless, so you're just kind of letting it go. But, man, she is totally nosy because, yeah, she sees fur coats, but she decides, what else is in this closet, right? She gets on the ground, she sees a box, and it's got a whole bunch of pictures and stuff, and she's looking through, and we don't know who any of these people are. Like, we've never seen them in this movie yet, but we did see the red Volvo, didn't we?
Exactly. This is the point in the movie where I would have been like, nope, and straight up noped out of there.
Just noped out. Well, I think she's starting to feel that too, because she goes outside to look in the driveway and the Volvo's gone, but there's this like brown and beige striped van, and so she doesn't think nothing of it. She goes back inside, but then we see kind of a shadow, like somebody gets out of the van, and we don't know who it is, but then a cigarette hits the ground and this person stomps out the cigarette, and so I think we're led to believe we know who this is.
Have you, this kind of harkens back to the earlier scene, have you been so desperate for a cigarette that you would take it out of a dead person's hand and smoke it?
Man, being somebody that did used to smoke cigarettes, I can easily say, no, I don't think that's normal.
I mean, I've smoked, I've taken some cigarettes that are out of a, I've been so desperate for one before where I've smoked one that I probably wouldn't under normal circumstances, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know.
I think I know what you're saying, man.
But
never from a dead person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never smoked a dead person's cigarette, and I would never kill for a cigarette, but that's just not me.
You gotta draw the line somewhere.
That's right. And, the last place I'll draw that line is maybe from the original Saw, when the cigarette is laced with the blood and the poison. I'll be like, what kind of poison are we talking? But anyway. Well, I think she's starting to freak out, man, because she goes in the kitchen. She tries to call Megan. There's, again, no answer. And she's definitely getting nervous. She takes the knife that is on the kitchen, and she takes it with her to the bathroom, and I've never taken a knife to the bathroom with me, so she's truly freaking out. We hear a thud that's possibly coming from upstairs. I don't know if it's kind of like several footsteps, and so she leaves, and Andy, I'm not even sure she wipes, which that's kind of gross, but whatever. She goes upstairs to see what the noise is and possibly check on Mother, who we still haven't seen, and she walks down the hall to another door that she hasn't opened. She assumes it's the mother's bedroom door, but it's locked. She can't go in. And Andy, this is when we get our 100% confirmation that shit ain't right, because we get to see what's in this room, and it's a dead family, and it's the family from the photographs. They're laying on the floor, and under them is a pentagram. And dude, I know when I saw this was much like the gunshot. This was an amazing scene and a great reveal.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's so disturbing. I mean, you see the family, you see the mom and the dad, and then the kid too. It's like, oh man, and then the pentagram underneath them is just like, wow. It's just to know that that's been there this whole time while she's like just having fun downstairs, or just kind of living her life downstairs. There's like this like murder room upstairs,
Right? Yeah. I thought it was really well placed, like to be kind of like halfway in the movie, kind of into our second act, because we've had, like you said, it's a slow burn, but that tension's been there, and it kind of goes up and down. But man, with the music and everything, it's so jarring. And then when this scene happens, I know that this movie isn't afraid to show you a pentagram, but you just don't see that a lot anymore in modern horror movies. And so it was really cool to just kind of be like, okay, we're definitely dealing with, like, the title of the movie gives it away, but it has been confirmed that there's some Satan worship going on.
Yeah, some good old-fashioned 80s Satanism.
Satanic panic in its finest.
Yeah.
Well, she hears more thuds, and I don't know, man. I think this is telling us this is like a 3-story house, and she gets curious, so she wants to go upstairs yet again, but we get another jump scare because that's when this loud-ass doorbell breaks the tension. She storms downstairs. You know, she grabs the money off the fridge. She throws it at the pizza delivery guy, takes the pizza and closes the door, and she, you know, have a good night. Thanks, you too. But Andy, I recognize this pizza guy.
Oh, yeah. This brings up so many questions. Like, okay, so this guy was already by the house earlier, though we've established that. But Samantha calls him. You can tell it was his voice on the phone when she calls to order the pizza, right?
Right.
And then he's delivering the pizza now. It's like, how did that work? How does that work? Did he go somewhere and get a pizza, or like, I don't know. I just want to know how all that worked behind the scenes.
True. Well, I mean, we know this is before cell phones, right? Because this is supposed to be, 83 or whatever. But I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know if car phones were a thing. I don't know if he actually works at the pizza place, and so he has the direct, ability to pick that up. But as the film goes on, I think we can start to realize that this is not the first time that this has happened, and this is kind of what this family does. But Samantha takes the pizza, she lays it on the kitchen table. She tries to call the Ullmans, which this was really cool because when she calls it, it's like not a working number. And I'm like, oh shit, This is totally about to go down. So she freaks out and she goes to dial 911, but she tells herself to get a grip. She hangs up, and in the phone, we get our second call back because the 911 operator calls back. And this was Samantha's like, there's no emergency. I'm sorry for calling or whatever. She hangs it up. She goes over. She washes the knife in the sink. And then she cuts up the pizza. And Andy, I remember the first thing I was thinking, I know this whole time I've been talking really good about pizza, but this pizza did not look fresh.
Yeah, it probably wasn't. Yeah, I could imagine it probably wasn't fresh.
Yeah, I think there's something going on here. But hey, I'm just a watcher of this movie. What do I know? She turns on more lights in the house, and she feasts while watching some TV with her big-ass TV remote. Andy, do you remember what was playing on the TV?
I do.
What was it?
It was Night of the Living Dead.
Hell yeah, the most commonly used movie ever, and also one of the greatest zombie films ever. It's always cool when we see it in there, because I feel like every time we see Night of the Living Dead playing on the background, I'm like, that's a true horror fan right there who made this movie. They know what's up.
Yeah, for sure.
She takes a few bites of the pizza, and again, we got a running theme. She seems to not care for the pizza. I guess she thinks it's nasty, and second time in this movie, somebody wastes pizza. And she goes and she fills her cup up with more tap water, which Andy loves, and she rinses her mouth out in the sink. But then she spits out the water, and she kind of runs her tongue around her teeth, and then she stares into the drain. What do you think she's seeing or hearing that's causing her to look into the drain? I was kind of confused.
I don't know. Maybe she just has a funny taste in her mouth. And I'm assuming that, and as we'll see later, that I think there was something on the pizza, like some kind of, I don't know what.
Like it's drugged or something.
Yeah.
Well, see, I think that wholeheartedly, but I'm also really curious about the water, because there's been multiple times where we look at the sink that's dripping, but then she's drinking the water and then she spits it out, and then it's almost like I know the water's not acid. I understand that doesn't make sense, but the way the acid makes a sound, it almost seems like she's listening to it go down the drains. And I was just wondering if, okay, the pizza is definitely laced with something, but what if the tap water also has something in it?
Oh wow, I didn't even think about that.
So that way, if she doesn't eat the pizza, at least she drinks the water, or vice versa.
Yeah.
She should have had a Coke. Anyway. Well, she didn't eat the pizza, so I guess she's still hungry. She decides to feed her appetite for curiosity. She goes back upstairs. She turns on more lights to investigate more rooms, and we get to see the upstairs bathroom, and she goes and she's listening to the pipes again. And Andy, this was so weird. In the bathtub, we see a giant pile of hair.
Yeah, I don't know what that was about. I don't know if it was like the Mrs. Ullman, she cut her hair or something.
Right. It's like hair growing out of the pipes. What's really going on?
Yeah,
maybe the water tastes like hair. Maybe that's why it's gross.
Yeah. But it was still unsettling just to see all that cut off hair in the bathtub. You're like, what happened here? Why? It's just kind of out of place.
Shave their balls in the tub. This is gross.
Man,
throw your hair away. It's like a damn jungle in here. Well, we hear another thud outside the bathroom, so she opens the door and she's traveling up to the third floor. And when she gets up there, it's like a lonely closed door, man. And I guess this door leads to the attic, but she reaches up and she pulls the string to a light bulb so we can see what the hell's going on, but that's the straw that breaks the camel's back. See how I tied into Camel cigarettes? But man, that's when every single light in the house burns out, leaving her on the stairs in the dark. And she hears the footsteps, and we can kind of see the silhouette below the door that somebody's there, and they're walking around, and then they hit the door really loud. And I don't know, man. At this point, I'm guessing the drugs on the pizza are starting to kick in because we're getting that woozy cam, and we find out she's definitely been drugged, and we fade to black. So I know we've kind of already talked about it, but was it the pizza or the water or both?
Yeah, I just assumed it was the pizza, but who knows?
Is that because you like tap water and you refuse to think something can be wrong with it?
Yes.
All right, man. This is time for the climax. We get a few shots of like a blood red moon. We get a few shots of a candle, and then we see Samantha, and she's gagged up and tied on the floor, and we have a pentagram drawn underneath her. The music is playing. How cool does this scene look?
Oh, it's like your typical like satanic sacrifice scene. You know, someone's tied up and get ready to be sacrificed or something like that.
Yeah, man, I didn't know what was about to happen. I was like, I can think of one or two things, and neither one are good. But that's when we get to see, man, because the door opens up. We have Mr. Ullman. We have Mrs. Ullman. They both walk into the room. We have the pizza guy, who is clearly their son. And then we finally get to meet Mother. And they come in. They're all in these, like, hooded cloaks. Mother gets down on the floor, man, and she pulls up Samantha's gown. And she draws a pentagram on her stomach in blood. And then she takes what I presume is either a goat or a ram's head, and the mother like cuts her wrist and bleeds into this ram's head and then pours it into Samantha's mouth. And Andy, like, I know that I'm a little fucked up, but man, I thought this was amazing.
Yeah, no, it looked really good. I mean, just the way that the scene was lit was really good. And it seemed like all the color was gone or something. I don't know, like, was it black and white or no?
It wasn't, but it definitely had that vibe, right? Where it was a lot of brown, like sepia tone induced, and the color was muted, and the only color that bled through was like the red moon, and then the red blood and the fire.
Right.
So I think that there's definitely some creative things going on to make certain things stand out, but I think it really made the scene come to life.
Yeah, no, it was great. I mean, it was really freaky.
Yeah, and man, I'm not one to judge a book by its cover, but Mother was ugly as fuck.
Yeah, it was weird. It was kind of like, is that a woman or a man or what's going on here? You know, I was like, is that like some kind of demon or something? Because they just looked weird.
It screamed this like mutant Hills Have Eyes thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, Samantha is like done with this. She starts like flaying herself around, and she manages to break free from her ropes. She hits Mother in the face. She picks up a dagger on the floor. She stabs Mr. Ullman. The son, he like grabs her, but then she manages to gouge one of his eyes out with her thumb, and she escapes this basement or attic or whatever it is. But what happens is she runs into the kitchen and she trips over Megan's dead body, man. And Andy, I don't know if you picked up on some things here, and I could just be wrong. This is just my opinion, but the score, the way it was playing, was very reminiscent of Halloween. So not like the main theme, but kind of like that dun dun.
Oh yeah.
Dun, dun. Like it just, I was like, man, that's got to be a nod or something. But either way, even if it was just inspiration, I just thought the tone was amazing.
Oh yeah, the score was great in this movie.
So can you picture like the son like bringing the dead body of Megan, dragging it in there, and he's like eating the pizza and he's placing the body in the kitchen? I was like, who thought this through?
Yeah.
Well, you know, she falls over Megan's body, like I said, but she also sees that the knife is in the kitchen, the one that she used to cut up the pizza. So she grabs it and she runs out of the kitchen. Their son, he comes out of the basement, he chases her, but he knows his house better than she does, so he takes a different staircase, meets her at the top, and then, dude, I was shocked because he actually pulls a gun out and shoots her in the shoulder, and she falls down, and I remember thinking to myself, holy shit, she's about to get it, but this is when he makes that classic villain mistake because he gets too close to finish her off, right? He decides that he's gonna, you know, be up close and personal, and he's a little too close because she turns around, she still has that knife, and she slits his throat, causing him to bleed all over his nice, clean, white shirt. What did you think of the death of the son?
Yeah, it was satisfying. You know, I think, you know, as a person that you wanted to see, you know, get their comeuppance.
Yeah, A.J. Bowen is no more. Miss Ullman hears what's going on. She runs up the stairs. She finds her murdered baby boy on the ground. She gets mad when she realizes that he'll never get that promotion at Pizza Hut. She chases Samantha up to the 3rd floor, and Samantha's lying on the floor, and we start noticing that she's having glimpses of Mother. She's having them. We're kind of seeing them, and it's telling us that something has happened, right? Like, I don't know what's going on. It's like a spell on her or something, but Miss Ullman makes it into the room, finds Samantha on the floor, starts touching Samantha's stomach, and says, like, there's nothing you could do. It's all going to work out. And that means one of my 2 theories is probably correct. But Miss Ullman then, it's weird. She, like, gets up and she walks over to the window and she starts praying to the moon or the moon god or whoever it is. And then she pulls off her wig, which I guess is, like you said, all that hair she cut off was probably hers. And at this point, she also is kind of revealing, like, how old she is, because I don't know what this did. They just made her look like 30 years older. But as she starts praying, Samantha uses this opportunity to take that knife that she had, and she stabs Miss Ullman in the back. That's right, the same knife that killed her son. And Miss Ullman screams in pain, falls on the floor, and bleeds out. What'd you think of this scene?
That was great. I mean, it was really disorienting, kind of creepy, and with all the flashes that she's getting, that Samantha's getting, like something's just happening within her. And then we see that combined with just the crazy talk from Mrs. Ullman as she's staring at the moon. And, this kind of reminds me of on the It miniseries, there's a scene where the crazy guy, Henry Bowers. Yeah. Henry Bowers, yeah. He, like, sees Pennywise in the moon, and Pennywise tells him to escape or whatever.
So you're saying Pennywise is the man on the moon?
Maybe. Hey,
That's what we've been looking at. Hey,
maybe this is all connected in the Stephen King universe. Who knows?
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah.
Well, right as Miss Ullman dies and falls to the floor, the eclipse starts to end. Samantha walks downstairs and she grabs the gun that the son had, and she walks into the kitchen. She tries to dial 911, but the visions of Mother are like too intense, so she drops the phone and she runs out of the house. And this is where Mr. Ullman follows her out, and she runs to the cemetery, but he still has, like, that knife in his stomach, and so when he pulls it out, like, blood, like, squirts out of his stomach, and I think we realize that he's about to die. And so they enter that cemetery. We pass Megan's Volvo. Mr. Ullman, he's trying to talk to Samantha, kind of, like, plead with her, and he's like, you don't need to shoot me, and he, like, throws the knife to the side. He tells Samantha, like she's having headaches and she's hearing voices, so he knows what's going on. She's, like, on her knees. She's still got the gun, and he's just like I said before, like, you don't need to shoot me. He's, like, telling her the voices are calling out, like, he chose you, and so I assume he's talking about the devil. And he tells her that her destiny is here, and she needs to accept it. She points the gun at him, and he's like, go ahead and do it. I'm just the messenger. And then he looks up at the moon again. And then Andy, what happens?
And then Samantha gets the idea, like, okay, I'm going to shoot myself, and because she knows that something's happening to her, and that's the only way that she can make it stop, basically.
Yeah. Did this scene shock you? Did you expect it at all?
Yeah, it was a little surprising that she would go to that extreme of killing herself, but I guess if you really believe that, like, Satan's taken over your body or whatever, I guess, some people may see that as their only alternative.
Yeah, for sure. I remember I was, like, glued to the screen, and I was, we're at the climax, this is all the showdown. It's the last 2 alive. I was waiting to see what happens, and I thought she was going to shoot him, like, right between the eyes. And then, again, here we go, 0 to 100, and she puts the gun to her head and shoots herself. And so, naturally, when you put a gun to your head and pull the trigger, you're going to die. So I was really shocked that there was more to this movie. And so our final scene of the film is in a hospital, and we overhear a TV that's playing. We hear about the eclipse, but how it also, like, ended abruptly, faster than scientists could explain. And we travel down this hallway corridor into a room where Samantha lies unconscious, covered in bandages, and a nurse tells her, don't worry, she'll be fine. And then the nurse touches her stomach and says, both of you, which, Andy, indicates Samantha's pregnant. And we end the movie with a freeze frame of Samantha, some ominous music, and the yellow font of the credits starts to roll up. House of the Devil, man, what did you think?
Oh, it's great. But it leaves you with so many questions. It's like, so what were the Satanists trying to do? Are they trying to bring the Antichrist. Is that what they're doing? Is that what she's pregnant with is the Antichrist, like Damien? And also just like who all was really involved in this? Was it just the family? Was there other people? I don't know. Like it's just interesting. Like how did she get medical attention so fast? Like because obviously somebody must have had to have taken her to the hospital pretty soon after she did what she did. After she shot herself, I would think, for her to still be alive.
Yeah, that's a good point. I would only assume that Mr. Ullman probably took her. I know that he was on his way to dying as well, but, sometimes in these movies we know that we don't want all the answers, and that really helps the film. But yeah, maybe she was going to give birth to a moon baby. I don't really know. But one thing that we do know is back when the satanic cult movies used to come out, I wouldn't be surprised if it was one of those situations where it was like Race with the Devil, where like the whole town was always involved. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So who really knows? But I should have said at the beginning, but it streams. You can find it on Freevee. You can occasionally find it on Tubi. But if you find it for sale, buy it, because it's a fucking awesome movie, man. And I'm really glad we did this. I'm glad you picked it, because House of the Devil is one for the win, dude.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, anybody out there that's a fan of like 70s, 80s horror, like I would say like mid to late 70s, early 80s, that kind of style of horror, definitely check this out.
And this is Abnormal Andy. You couldn't get away from hearing my voice on here. This is the Screaming Skull Podcast signing off. See ya.